Hello students, today we have got English lecture. We'll do lesson number 2.2 and the name of the lesson is the three questions in your textbook. Come to your page number 52. Now this lesson is written by Leo Tolstoy. He was born in the year 1828 and died in the year 1920. Was a Russian writer who is regarded as one of the greatest authors of all time. So he is one of the greatest authors during his period. He first achieved literary acclaim in his 20s with the semi-autobiographical theology, childhood, boyhood, and youth. Now you know what you mean by autobiography, a person who tells a story. And theology is a three stages. And what is a parable? Parable is a short story with a moral lesson. Now let's start with the lesson. Please pay attention. Once a certain king had an idea. Okay, so once there was a king and he had a idea. If you always knew the right time, so what is first right time to begin everything means which is a what is the right time to begin everything. If you knew who were the right people and who was the right person to give a right advice to listen to and who to avoid the most important thing and what to avoid the most important thing. So this was his three questions. The first question was right time, second was right people, and third one most important thing to do. He would never fail in anything that he would undertake, and above all, if he always knew what was the most undertake. So he thought what is important and what things should be taken first. Since he was convinced that he was right in thinking this way, he had proclamation made in his kingdom. So he thought that he's the right person to think, and he made a proclamation. Proclamation means what? He made an announcement in his kingdom. He would give a great reward to anyone who would teach him what the right time was for every action. So he would give a reward if the person would give him the right answer, what is the right time for every action, who the most necessary person, who is the important person, and how he might know the most important thing to do, and what is the time to do an important thing. Many learned people came to the court, but they all gave different answers. So all scholars came to the court, but they gave different answers. In reply to the first question, so one of the persons gave the answer to the first question. Some said that to know the right time for every action, one must draw up in advance a table. So if you want to know the right time, what there should be? There should be a timetable, an advanced table should be. Table of days, months, and years, and must live strictly according to it. So you should make a timetable of days, months, and years, and you should stay accordingly. Others declared that it was impossible to decide beforehand the right time for every action. Somebody said you can't decide every action beforehand, but that not letting oneself be absorbed in idle pastimes. One should always attend to all that was going on and then do what was most essential. So somebody said you should keep on doing your thing and what thing is important or essential you should do it first. Yet others said that it was impossible for one man to decide correctly the right time for every action. Somebody said that it is impossible to decide correctly the right time. Instead, having a council of wise people who would help him to fix the proper time for everything. Equally, equally varied with the answer to the second question. Some said the people the king most needed were his counselors, others the priests, others the doctors, while some said the warriors were the most necessary. Now the king was not satisfied with the answers given by his learned people. So he said, equally worried with the answers to the second question. Some said the people the king most needed were his counselors. So what some people said, the king needed a counselor. Others, the priest. You know what you mean by priest? A person who is in the church who tells the prayers. He is called as a priest. Others, the doctors. While some said the warriors were the most necessary. You know, who are the warriors who fight in the war? They are called as warriors. To the third question about what was the most important occupation, some replied that the most important thing in the world was science. You know, what is the most important occupation? Some said it is related to your science. Others said it was skill in warfare, how good you are in doing certain thing, that is called your skill. And others again that it was religious worship, and somebody said that what is important, you should do religious worship, you should pray to God. The king was convinced by none of these answers. So the king was not happy with this answer and gave the reward to none. So not a single person was rewarded. He decided instead to go to a hermit. Now, who's a hermit? A person who lives far away from everyone. You can say like a sadhu or something, who was widely renowned for his wisdom. Renowned means who was well known for his knowledge. The hermit lived in a small hut in a forest. So where this hermit was staying, he was staying in a small hut and he was staying in the forest, which he never left. He spoke only to common folk. Folk means he spoke only to common people. So the king put on simple clothes and approaching the hermit cell. Cell means the hut where he was staying. Dismounted his horse. Dismounted means what? He left his horse, left his bodyguard behind. So when this king came close to the hermit's hut, he so the king put on simple clothes. So the king removed his kingly dress clothes and he put a simple clothes. And approaching the hermit's cell, he went close to the hermit's house, dismounted his horse. He left his horse and left his bodyguards behind. When the king arrived, the hermit was digging the ground in front of his hut. So when the king reached to this hermit, he saw the hermit. He was digging the ground in front of his hut. He greeted the king but went on digging. He greeted the king but went on digging. Who greeted? He said good evening, good afternoon, good morning, something he maybe said, and he was busy with his work of digging. The hermit was frail and weak. He was not very strong, very weak, thin he was. And each time he struck the ground with the spade. Spade is what? Instrument which is used for digging a ground. You can call in Hindi like kudal or something which is used. And turned over a little earth. Earth means he was digging the earth. He was taking the mud and breathed heavily. Since he was very thin and weak, he was taking a deep breath. The king went up to him and said, I have come to you, wise hermit, to ask you to answer three questions. The king said, I have come to you. I've got three questions and hope so you'll give me the answer for these three questions. How can I learn to do the right thing at the right time? So, what was the first question? How can I learn to do right thing at the right time? Is what, which is the proper time to do a proper thing? Who are the people I most need and to whom should I, and who are the most important people to whom I should meet? Therefore, pay most attention and what affairs are the most important and need my first attention, and which work is important and which work should be done first. The hermit listened to the king but said nothing. So this sadhu. this hermit, he kept on listening what the king was telling. He just spat on his hand and resumed digging. Spat means what? He spit. He dropped his spit on his hand. He rubbed his hand and he started digging his work. You know, when you want to do some when you want to pull something, you spit on your hands. You might be seen in the cricket also in the game of cricket. When the bowler is doing bowling, what he does is put a spit on the ball, so what there should be a friction to do the work. The king watched in silence for a while, then feeling sorry for the hermit, he said, "You are tired. Let me take the spade and work a while for you." So what the king said for the for that hermit that you are tired. I will take the spade and I will do the little digging of the earth. The hermit silently handed over the spade and sat down on the ground. So what the hermit did, he handed over the spade to him and he sat on the ground. When he had dug two beds, so who dug the two beds? The king. He did two fields. He did, you can say. The king stopped and repeated his question. So again, after some time, the king repeated his three questions. The hermit again gave no answer, but rose, stretched out his hand for the spade, and said, "Now rest a while, and let me work a bit." So now the hermit said for the king, "You sit for some time, and I will do the work." But the king did not give him the spade and continued to dig. But the king did not give the spade and started to do his work. 1 hour passed and another. So 1 hour became. The king was doing his work. The sun began to sink behind the trees, and the king at last stuck the spade into the ground and said, I came to you I came to you, wise one, for an answer to my question. If you can give me none, please say so, and I will go home. Here comes someone running, said the hermit. Let us see who it is. Now look at this paragraph. 1 hour passed and another. The the sun began to sink behind the trees. So the sun began to sink means night was turning evening, it was turning darker. And the king at last stuck the spade into the ground and said, and the king kept the spade. And what did the king said? I come to you, wise one, for an answer to my question. So I've come to you to get my answers for my question. If you can give me none, please say go and I will go home. So if you are not able to answer my question, I will go home. Here comes someone running, said the hermit. So suddenly the hermit said, see, somebody is coming running. Let us see who it is. So the hermit said, see, someone is coming running. Let us see who it is. The king turned round and saw a bearded man come running out of the forest. So a one man came. He was a bearded man, little daddy he was having. The man held his hands past pressed against his stomach. So the man held his hand. Which man? The man, the bearded man who came. The man held his hands pressed against his stomach. So was pressing his stomach. And blood was flowing from under them. So that man was wounded. How we come to know that man was wounded? Because he was catching his stomach and blood was coming. When he reached the king, he fainted and fell to the ground, moaning feebly. So, when he reached to the king, the man fainted and he fell down on the ground. The king, the king, the king and the hermit unfastened the man's clothes. Unfastened means they removed his clothes out. Unfastened the man's clothes. There was a large wound in his stomach. So what was it? There was a wound in his stomach. The king washed it as well as he could and bandaged it with his handkerchief. So what did the king did? The king washed his wound and bandaged, did a bandage with a handkerchief and a towel the hermit had. but the blood would not stop flowing, and the king again and again removed the bandage, soaked with warm blood, and washed and re-bandaged the wound. But after doing the bandage, also the blood was not stopping, the blood was flowing. They kept on removing the bandage and washing the wound. When at last the blood stopped flowing, the man received and asked for something to drink. And after some time, the man asked something for the drink. The king brought some fresh water and gave it to him. So what did the king did? He brought some fresh water and he gave it to him. Meanwhile, the sun had set and it had become cool. So it was night now. And during night time, it becomes a little cool. So the king with the hermit's help carried the wounded man into the hut. So both the king and the hermit, they carried the wounded man and they took him inside the hut. The man lay there quietly with his eyes closed. So the man, since he was wounded, so his eyes were closed. But now the king was so tired after his work and the work he had done that he lay down himself and also fell asleep. So the whole day the king was digging the earth. So the king was also tired, and because of the tiredness, the king also went to sleep. When he woke in the morning, it took him some time to remember where he was and who was the strange bearded man lying by his side and gazing intently. Intently means what? Very attentively. So who was gazing at that man? King was gazing at that man. So the king woke up in the morning and he saw the man who was sleeping side of him and he was looking at him. Forgive me, said the bearded man in a weak voice. So the bearded man who was wounded, he said, Forgive me. Very slow voice he said. When he saw the king was awake and was looking at him, I do not know you and I have nothing to forgive you for, said the king. So what the king said, I don't know who are you and I have nothing to forgive you and I can't forgive you since I don't know who you are. You do not know me, but I know you. Who said this? The bearded man said to the king, You do not know me, but I know you. I am the enemy of yours who sought to revenge himself on you because you executed his brother and seized his property. Now look at this lines. But I know you, I am the enemy of yours. Who said this? The bearded man said it, I am your enemies. Who so means what? That we are taking a promise that I will take the revenge on you because you executed his brother and seized his property. So you took my brother out and you have taken my property. I know you had gone alone to see the hermit, and the bearded man know that the king was going to meet the hermit or going inside the forest to see the hermit. And I resolved to kill you, and I decided that I will kill you on your way back. So when on your way back, when you're coming, I will kill you. But the day passed and you did not return. So whole day passed and the king did not return. So I came out of my ambush. Ambush means what? A place of hiding. So where I was hiding, I came out from a hiding place to find you. Your bodyguards recognized me and wounded me. So your bodyguard seen me and they attacked me. I escaped from them, but would have bleed to death and you not dress my wound. So if I would left from there, your bodyguards would kill me. I wish to kill you, but you had saved my life. So what the burden man said that I wanted to kill you, but since you have saved my life, now if I live and if you wish it, I will serve you all my life. So what the burden man said that you have saved my life and I will serve you throughout my life. The king was very glad. The king was very surprised, or the king was very shocked to have made peace with an enemy so easily. So this king made a peace with an enemy and to have gained him for a friend. He not only forgave him, but said he would send his men and his own physician to attend to him. Like he would send his man, anesthesian means what? He would send a doctor or some person to cure his wound. The king then took leave of him and went out of the hut to look for the hermit. So the king left the hut and he went to see where the hermit is. Before going away, he wished one more to beg for an answer to the question he had. So again, the king wanted to find the answer for this question. As the hermit was outside on his knees, sowing seeds in the bed. So what the hermit was doing, he was sowing the seeds in the bed. Why he was sowing? How we come to know they were sowing the seeds in the bed? Because uh, yesterday or the day before he was digging the earth. Why he was digging the earth? For sowing the seeds in the bed that he had been dug the day before. The king approached him and said, for the last time, I pray you to answer my question, wise man. So what the king said, I am requesting last time to answer my questions. You have already been answered, said the hermit, still crouching. Crouching means what? Bending. So what the hermit told the king that you have got all the answers for your question. On his thin legs and looking up at the king who stood before him. What do you mean? Asked the king. Do you not see? Replied the hermit. If you not pitied my weakness yesterday and stayed to dig these beds for me, you would have gone back and been killed by that man. So what the hermit said, since you would not done my work and you would left me and go, this man would kill you. So the most important time was when you were digging the bed and I was the most important man, and to do me good was your most important business. Look at this lines. So the most important time was when you were digging. So which was the most important time when you were digging the earth. And I was the most important man, and to do me good was your most important business. Afterwards, the most important time was when you were attending to that man for for if you have not bound his wounds, bound means what? If you have not cleaned his wounds, he would have died without having made peace with you. So that man would die without making a peace. So he was the most important man, and that was the most important person. And when you did for him was the most important business, and what medicine you gave him, that was your most important business. Remember that there is there is only one time that is important now. It is the most important time because it is the only time when you have any power. So what is important? Only time is important. The most necessary person is the one with whom you are. For you do not know whether you will ever have dealings with anyone else. So what is most important? The most important person you are, and you don't know what is going to happen later. And the most important thing is to do this person good because for that purpose alone were you sent into this life. And what is answer the last question, that you should always be a good person because that is the purpose to do good for others. So students, hope so you have understood the lesson. And what is the moral of this story? That you students be with your parents and your parents guide you every now and then. They are the most important person in your life. So always respect your parents and do good things for them. Okay. Now students, in your textbook page number 55, do question number 1, read the story. Question number 2, 3, 4 is omitted on page number 56 and 57. Question number 2, question number 3 and question number 4 is omitted. Come to your page number 58. We have to do question number 5, question number 6, question number 8, question number 9, question number 10, 10A and 10B. Do it. Question number 11. Okay. So student, solve this much questions. Now one important thing, uh, this year, some of the things have been deleted from your English textbook. 25% has been deleted. That I will send you the YouTube regarding English, what things have been deleted. Okay, students, thank you very much.